Hello, hello! I'm talking today about a prince of the house of Dunkeld, Henry of Alba. He was born sometime in 1114, the second son of King David I of Alba, or Scotland as that kingdom became known, and of Countess Matilda of Huntingdon. Since his elder brother Malcolm died at a young age, Henry stood to gain a mighty inheritance, not only the Scottish kingdom from his father, but also the significant English earldoms of both Huntingdon and Northumbria from his mother. Her death in 1130 left Henry as heir to a large portion of English lands, but instead, the earldom sat vacant while the English king decided what to do with them. In 1136, King David I invaded England to press this and other issues more firmly. He also voiced support for his niece, Countess Matilda of Anjou, from whom the very throne of England had lately been stolen by her cousin Stephen. Well, this latter issue was apparently dropped when David met with King Stephen at Durham. He settled for some other concessions, namely that his son Henry was finally invested with the earldom of Huntingdon. Prince Henry then attended the English court, as Earl of Huntingdon and as Lord of Carlisle and Doncaster. The two sides celebrated Easter together that year in an effort to further their friendship, but unfortunately Henry was treated less than honorably at Stephen's court. An accusation of treason was thrown around, and King David was so offended when he heard of it that he immediately recalled his son to Alba. Within months, he was arranging another invasion of England. This went on into 1138, with Prince Henry joining his father on campaign that summer. They seized a number of important castles, and at Clitheroe, Henry's cousin, Earl William Fitzduncan of Moray, totally routed an English army. By this time, King Stephen of England was having other problems, as a rising number of his subjects were choosing to rebel, the opening stages of what would turn out to be over a decade of civil war. Well, since Stephen was busy in the south, it was Archbishop Thurstane of York who rallied the men of northern England into stopping the Scottish advance. In the early morning fog of 22 August 1138, while Prince Henry and his father continued their southward invasion into Yorkshire, they spotted in the distance 3 distinct banners. Hoisted high above a cart, the standard of Archbishop Thurstane was most prominent, announcing the arrival of his defensive army, which included no less than 6 formidable English lords. Prince Henry, by this time a knight in his early 20s, must have been eager for the Battle of the Standard that followed. He commanded units from Cumbria and Teviotdale, and he took a salient part in the action. But there was some disorganization among the other Scottish units, and unfortunately the whole scene descended into chaos. Earl Patrick of Lothian was killed, along with most of his spearmen, and King David was compelled to flee. A bold and probably frustrated Henry attempted one last daring charge at the English army, but this did not go well for him either, as he very nearly lost his life in the carnage. He ultimately joined his father in retreat back to Carlisle. Luckily for them, King Stephen of England was too preoccupied to follow up on the Scots' defeat, and so their raids on northern England soon resumed. Finally, in April 1139, with the help of a papal legate, a new treaty was agreed. At last, Henry was invested with his earldom in Northumbria, and then he attempted once again to attend the English court. He joined King Stephen at a siege then underway at Ludlow, where a stray grappling iron nearly dragged the prince to his death. Purportedly, it was King Stephen himself who saved him. Prince Henry's latest stay at the English court did have its perks. He soon married the very eligible Ada de Warenne. Since she was the daughter of Earl William de Warenne of Surrey and a half-sister of 3 other English earls, this marriage was probably intended to draw Henry closer to English politics. But it may have been a love match, too, as claimed by contemporary chronicler Orderic Vitalis. Well, they must have at least liked each other. They went on to have at least 7 children. Other friendships in England proved harder to nurture. Henry was disrespected by several English lords, especially the jealous Earl Ranulph de Garnon of Chester, who rudely complained about Henry's acquisition of Northumbria until the Scottish prince removed himself and his new wife to Alba. It turned out to be a good move. King Stephen was captured by rebels in 1141, and after this, Henry was able to hold Northumbria directly from his father as a Scottish fief. We don't know much about Henry's later years, except that he suffered with poor health. He may have developed a long-term illness, or perhaps he was troubled by an old injury. On 12 June 1152, in one of history's great tragedies, Henry died at one of his castles in southern Alba. The timing proved doubly tragic, as his father King David also died less than 1 year later. The Scottish throne was then left to Henry's 12-year-old son Malcolm, and later to his younger son William. Through the course of their reigns, despite their efforts, Northumbria and indeed all of Alba was subjected to England. One can't help wondering what might have happened if only Henry had lived a while longer. I think he almost certainly would have been a great king. That's the life of Prince Henry of Alba. Thank you so much for watching.